It's tough, you know.
Goodbye, my love, my life. Goodbye, goodbye.
But the stamina was awe-inspiring. And I just remember that he could do anything. He was a fast gun drawer. He could jump on horses. He could juggle. He could walk the oars. He could do anything. Anything.
Michael was firstborn, you know. That held, I think a whole different relationship thing with Dad. I mean, they weren't too sure about me or, that they wanted me. I always had the weight problem, and Dad was very demonstrative, about that. We're in a business and we're in a life of where it's more important of how we look rather than what we are very often.
I think he was probably a little more emotionally vulnerable. I, rightly or wrongly, I think probably emotionally shut down pretty early and sort of formed kind of a cast iron stomach. With me, he never physically, he just raged.
When, you had his full attention, it could be very devastating.
So he was pretty consumed, and I think I learned pretty early to kind of stay away. I mean, to be there, but be quiet, stay away. This was not it just made everything easier.
I can remember sitting in the bathtub, crying my eyes out, and Mike's pounding at the door, saying, Dad had a baby, he had Peter, and I just remember crying and crying and crying.
Joel said he's not going to want us anymore. And I said, of course he is. He's always his children. He's always going to want you. And he said, no, not if he has other children. And I said, yes, he will. Even if he has other children, he'll still want you.
I think I always was given a little bit of favoritism. First, I was the oldest of the second time around. So in a lot of ways, I mean, I feel that I received certain things from him that the other kids didn't. I don't think he loved them any less. I don't think he loved Eric any less.
Michael's brothers, they have it tougher. Their father was a movie star, their brother was a movie star. It puts a terrific burden on them. My youngest son is Eric. Eric has had lots of problems with alcohol, with dope, and it's too bad because he's so smart and he can be so charming. But I learned a lot from him. Maybe I learned more than he learned because I learned that eventually everybody had to solve this problem. And he has my love and support. What else can I say?
One's over, boys. Unbuckle them.
Let's shoot it out.
All right, Shanghai. Go ahead, draw. All of you. But you get it first, Shanghai.
And you second, Ringo.
I like Bert. I like him a lot.
From a leading man standpoint, not leading woman, but I mean, it's an amazing kind of chemistry that these two men had with each other.
Are you sufficiently up on your Bibles to know who Judas was?
I suggest you read that letter, sir. It's from the president.
I asked you a question.
Always end up having a fight, getting pissed off at each other, and it would never work again.
Yes, I know who Judas was. He was a man I worked for and admired until he disgraced the 4 stars on his uniform.
We got along. We fought a lot. People said, see, they're going to...
He had deep love for Bert and, unfounded respect. I mean, they did what?
I think 7 or 8 movies.
Here's these two guys here, super macho, virile, gung-ho guys, right? Did the funniest thing ever done at the Academy Awards.
It's great not to be nominated, great not to be nominated, great merely to sit here and relax. Since we have been bested, we're not interested, but who stuck those knives in our backs?
Then we went.
They will see us grousing, price of water housing. Tonight we're not getting the bend.
And I climbed up on his shoulder. We used to have such fun.
So long, Arch. So long, Harry. Hey, Harry. You take care of yourself, okay? You too, Arch.
Kirk was bigger than life. And Michael was living in another family with a mother who he adored and a stepdad who he loved more than anything. And Kirk he would see, I think, mostly in the summer on vacations. But it was a bigger than life. And I think as much as he loved Bill and his mom, I think he wanted Kirk's approval more than anything.
My acting was so painfully shy, was such a exercise in overcoming stage fright. I used to act with a waste basket. Just before I go on, I get sick. That might really be a good reason as to why I kept doing it, because I don't know why.
To be a son of Kirk Douglas at the time when he's probably the greatest movie star in the world, can you imagine what kind of effect that has on a young man trying to prove yourself?
You started in your career kind of playing gentle young men, kind of hippie roles, or, you know, pacifists or gentle young men roles, because you don't even want to begin to think that you could tap any of that element that's your father. And, you know, the thing about being an actor is you're trying to establish your own identity. And everybody's, yeah, you look just like your dad.
The immediate assumption is that you're there because your father was a superstar and, you know, he put you there. So all of our life, we were used to, and working on Dad's stuff or whatever, having to do it twice or three times is better.
The list of Hollywood children who have fallen into disaster is, you know, that we'd be on the air for the next 24 hours.
Michael had to show that he was Michael Douglas, not merely the son of Kirk Douglas.
Let's talk about Summer Street. Are you making fun of me?
No. You know. Oh,
I want to tell you
this
about
is the paranoid guy. This is the paranoid guy I know.
Summer Street.
Summer Street.
New York, Lincoln Center. My son Michael is going to play the lead. I come up to New York. I'm very proud. And when I come up, the director, who is Amy Irving's father,
Jules Irving,
fires my son from the...
Big disappointment.
So what did your papa do?
My papa bought the rights to that play, bought the screen rights, had it developed into a screenplay, right, in a film called Summer Tree, and then gave it to his son, who said, I don't want to do it.
Why?
Because probably it was a hostile act on my part.
Against me?
Probably, Dad, probably. But we did it.
What's the V stand for?
Banana.
Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Schaefer to heart care, please.
Bye.
And the picture was not a success.
Wasn't bad.
But it was a very interesting picture.
Yep, it was.
Aha. Do-do. Do-do.
Yeah, so you and Newly and your girlfriend left, and I was there to pick up the pieces and edit the picture. I was heartbroken because I had done it all for you. I wanted to show you that I loved you. I felt lonely. Don't you understand?
I understand
anything?
English, but did I make you feel lonely?
Yeah.
How did I make you feel
Because
lonely?
you walked away.
Wait, I should know at that point in my life about post-production?
No.
No, I mean, you're the producer
You
of the picture. But you got screwed
should
by.
be responsible.
You got screwed
for
by Anthony
walk-
Newley. You got screwed by Anthony Newley, which I
And you went
concur in
off
on.
with him.
I went off with Brenda Vaccaro. I didn't go off with Anthony Newley.
Michael was such an adventurer. He said, "You want to go to Catalina one day?" And we said, "Well, yeah, but it's such a long schlep." He said, "No, we'll fly there." I said, "Fly?" He said, "Yeah, I just got my pilot's license." We said, "What?" Next thing we know, we're in this tiny little plane. We're all scared to death. Michael takes his hands off the steering wheel. He's doing bits. Look, Mom, no hands. The next thing we know, we're in Catalina. He had a little devilish quality about him. It was always fun. He was the first to have the new car. He was the first to have a pilot's license. Who knew from a pilot's license? He was the Howard Hughes of our day.
The Streets of San Francisco, a Quinn Martin production, starring Carl Malden. Also starring Michael Douglas.
You have to remember those police shows back then, Hawaii Five-0 or whatever. The second lead, the second banana was like two steps back in soft focus. You know, the focal length couldn't even carry you.
I said, Michael, when you do crap, do it fast. And we're doing crap.
Carl was the first guy to say, come on, come on. Oh, you got it. So he allowed me, so many chances to have, our shows develop where I was the lead.
How come I always gotta have a dime when you never do?
What do you mean, never do?
If I kept track of how much money I put in for your coffee habit, I'd have a week's pay by now.
I came to Carl and said I wanted to leave the show because I want to produce One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I finally got it done. I've been working on it for 6 years, and I finally got it done. And we had a really close relationship. We worked our butt off, and he gave me a hug, and he knew how much it meant to me. He said, you go for it.
One morning, he came into my trailer. And I said, what the hell happened to you? His eyes were red rim.
Okay, buddy boy. What's chewing on you?
He said, I cried all night. What happened? I had a talk with Kirk. I'm ready to go into production. And I've got the money, I've got the actor, I've got it all put together. And for the first time, I said, how do I come in this, Dad? What's my share? What do I do? He said, talk to my lawyer. He said, that killed me. He said, I couldn't sleep.
The winner is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
The old guilt button, of how to, control somebody or to make somebody feel guilty as if they'd done something wrong or failed you. As you get older, both on your own or having done a little therapy or understanding things that doesn't,
To anybody who's got a dream and has possibilities that it's not going to be a reality, just hang on. It's all right. It's going to work out. Thank you.
We were shooting Fatal Attraction, and we were walking to the set. And the set was in a public place. And a woman came running up to Michael, and she said, are you Michael Douglas? And he said, yes. She said, oh, I like your father much better than you. And I looked at this woman, and I thought, how could she possibly say something like that? And he was very polite, and he said, yeah, my dad's great. And he kept walking. And I never said anything, but I thought, what pain this man has to go through every single day of his life because he's being compared to his father.
Michael loves Kirk. I mean, he really came to terms with him. He forgave him for all that stuff.
I think that as Michael grew up and got that approval from his dad and became his equal, that a great sense of peace and accomplishment could settle over him in his life. And he didn't have to feel that he was pressing his nose against the window.
Now, my father never gave me a pat on the back. But I really tried to always give my son a pat on the back. Did I succeed?
You did.
So, since nobody gives me a pat on my back, I have written a song. Give yourself a pat on the back, a pat.
No one's giving you a pat on the back? No one's giving you a pat on the back.
I think you have given me several pats on the back.
I've given you nachis.
Yes. Am I talking too much?
No, you're not talking too much. But I noticed a tremendous change in you. You know, since you're studying. Really?
No,
Really? Me? No, really? Oh, I'm just, yeah, everybody, because you're always saying, you finally get your hostilities over, son, and we can talk. And I always say to you, do you ever think maybe, that you've changed? And, and it's dramatic. I see somebody at 86 years old with 86 movies, 12 novels, 4 boys, grandchildren, who's done it all, who continues, and I don't see you having any fear of the end. I see you dealing, with your life one day at a time, and it's just inspirational.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kirk Douglas.
Thank you. Thank you. I see my 4 sons. They are proud of the old man. And I am proud too. Proud to be a part of Hollywood for 50 years. But this is for my wife, Anne. I love you. I thank all of you for 50 wonderful years. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Douglas, what does it mean to you to receive the Lifetime Achievement Award here at the Berlinale?
Listen, I must confess, if you live long enough, you receive all the awards.
The President of the United States of America awards this Presidential Medal of Freedom to Kirk Douglas.
Kirk was in his prime as a major movie star. He would take time out and go around the world for the State Department. In certain parts of the Middle East and in North Africa, the American ambassador couldn't go into some of these universities. I mean, he would be stoned. But Kirk Douglas, movie star, American movie star, could go to these universities and have these young students who were anti-American look at him with adoring eyes, and he would tell them about what the culture of America was all about. Freedom to speak, to create, to be an artist, to say what you choose. I think it had a magnificent effect on these students.
You're reading somebody else's words. Somebody else is telling you what to do, where to go, how to stand, what to say.
Well, then you don't understand. what acting really is, and of course that would be quite a long conversation to go into. I mean, acting is an interpretive art. I mean, you may hear Heifetz play the violin. He didn't write the piece, but oh, how he plays it. And that's what's wonderful. Well, that's what an actor tries to do. He may not have written the piece, but what he wants to do is interpret it. Can I pour you a drink, Paul?
I don't know if I lost myself, but that was a painful part to play. Because Van Gogh, or Van Gogh, however you pronounce it, was such a sad character.
Paul, see, all the way home, I kept thinking of... I wondered, Paul, if only we'd tried a little, if we'd made some effort to remain friends, it wouldn't have been better for both of us.
So you finished it.
But yet, because of Paul, when you look back, so much of life is wasted in loneliness.
I controlled the character that I played, but in that sense, I felt I really did get lost in the character.
Where are you going?
I'm getting out of here before one of us gets killed.
Don't go,
I'll be back
Paul.
with my things in the morning.
Please don't go, Paul. If you only knew how lonely I was before you came here.
I know all about loneliness. Only I don't whine about it.
In my case, I think I also became an actor to escape.
Why do we do these things, Joe? Who knows? I built my whole life on hating my father. All that time he was inside me laughing. Maybe he was crying. Poor devil, maybe he couldn't help himself either.
People make acting too convoluted because, first of all, there's a certain thing called talent and presence. Some people just have a presence. The camera likes them. Well, I don't think, you learn that.
What was that?
Oh, like an earthquake.
What the hell's...
There was a way Michael's movies always, and still do, always seem to kind of presage reality.
Each picture seemed at once to take the pulse of the time and to be a daring thing.
The movie opened and it was a good picture, did well, and then about 3 weeks after the picture was opened...
3 Mile Island hit about 10 days after the opening of the picture.
Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, an accident at a nuclear power plant. Some radiated steam escaped into the atmosphere before the plant could be sealed off, but officials said there is no threat to health. The plant is 10 miles southeast of Harrisburg.
And what really did it for the picture, of course, was when Cronkite ran a split screen of the correspondent down at 3 Mile Island giving the report, and then took the scene out of China Syndrome and ran them side by side, and they're saying the exact same thing.
Oh my God, why? You idiot! You idiot!
Ladies and
You know, the exact same thing.
Oh, please, God, oh, please.
That was an epiphany for me. That was the most religious moment I think I've ever had in my life. That was something saying this goes way beyond being a coincidence. This is God trying to tell me and us something. That this movie that's being dismissed, that I thought is pretty good, somebody's telling us that there's some real validity here.
It always amazed me that he had that. I mean, that he had a clairvoyance of some kind.
I was getting ready for China Syndrome, and I had long hair and a big beard. I met Deandra at Jimmy Carter's inauguration.
It was as if Michael's dream come true. These two people meet, the glances across a crowded room.
He was a sophomore in college at Georgetown University in the School of Foreign Service, and there's a vulnerability, kind of a waif-like quality about her.
This pale, beautiful golden creature who sees the opposite.
And I guess opposites attract.
He was literally transformed.
You know, it was all very kind of quick and emotional, and got married, I think, about less than 8 weeks after we'd met.
And when Michael got married to Deandra, basically Michael's men friends there were Jack Nicholson, Warren Beatty, and myself. And I thought, oh man, this is some bad examples here.
She had a very difficult time adjusting to the publicity, the noise, the fanfare, and everything in Hollywood. She found it very difficult. I remember when she first came over here and they went to a premiere, and she said people were taking our pictures without even asking permission.
It seemed like the archetypal couple. Of course, sometimes things don't end up the way you foresee them.
When we were doing Romancing the Stone, I was unmarried, unattached. And he had told me, quite frankly, that he was separated. And then you work that closely with someone, and he was just gorgeous, you know. And smart and funny and capable. And anyway, I think I started to really fall for the man.
Kathleen was an important part of my life. I was separated at the time, I will say, but we carried on like bandits, and on screen and off.
And then Deandra came for a visit. How was that? I mean, as soon as I realized he really had a wife, that was that.
I think Dad's got it, you know. It's that deep-seated charisma.
Nick, you got too close to the flame.
It goes beyond just, as you know, the physical attraction.
Nick, you liked it. That's why she killed herself.
Men fall in love with beauty and they seek it.
Put it in.
And sometimes, in the case of a movie star, it seeks them.
Oh, God, look at us. Come on, I want you inside me. No. I can't do this. Put it in. I'm not gonna do this. Come on, now.
And that can be a very difficult thing to have beauty stalking you 24 hours a day.
You stick your dick in my mouth and then you get an attack of morality?
This never happened, all right? Sex in cinema is very hard because everybody's a judge, you know? And it's hard for them to understand how choreographed it is. So if you go do, with Adrian, think of, okay, so Glenn, go up on the sink. She's gonna put her hands back on the thing and into the water, okay? And then how about if you take your wet fingers and you stick them in my mouth? Let's do that. I try to do a thing. I pick her up off of the kitchen counter, and I start taking her. My pants are down, my trousers are down, my legs. I try to get her to the bed. And what happens is a comic relief, a nervous laugh that allows you to get out, a nervous laugh that frees you up so you can enjoy the rest. Okay, it's okay. But it's all choreographed. It's all kind of rehearsed.
We had developed a script, Stanley Jaffe and myself, called Fatal Attraction, which was a script that we were passionate about.
I was a television actor trying to make the transition into feature films, period.